can reverse insulin resistance. You can, I promise. Let's talk about it. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen if you start and you spend a little bit on it and then you get discouraged and you quit. And then you start and you spend a little bit on it and then you get discouraged and you quit. It doesn't happen if you do that. But if you put systems and patterns into place, you can reverse insulin resistance. Kathy, good morning, good morning. How are you? It's kind of cold here this morning, a little bit colder than usual. So I'm glad I have my jacket. So let's talk about how we even get insulin resistance and why 9 out of 10 women have it. 9 out of 10. Good morning, Nicole. Sweetest text ever. Seriously, thank you. Made my day. So sweet. So sweet. Thank you. If you want to be on the texting group, I'll be sharing some more magnesium on Friday. You can text Good Life to 435-213-9048. But let's get back. Good morning, Shelly. Oh, is it chilly there too? Yeah, it's just like little baronis. Okay, so why insulin resistance? How does it happen in the first place? Let's talk about that. So, insulin is a hormone. Insulin is like, remember, melatonin reacts to solar rays, the sun. Insulin's the same way. It becomes more effective when you have access to sunshine. So that's why our hour walk, well, we don't spend a whole hour together, but the hour walking is so important. But let's talk about what insulin does. Insulin protects your cell from sugar, because your cell would die with sugar, that much sugar in it. So let's talk about how much sugar your body really needs. Are you ready for this? Teaspoon. 1 teaspoon, people. 1. Most people, you ready for how much they get? Now think of it, we have 1.5 gallons of blood running through our veins, 1.5 gallons, and put 32 times the amount of sugar in that blood, we have a problem. And the body recognizes that. And so it's trying to course correct itself from how you're treating it. Said with love, said with so much love. You don't need that much sugar. So when you have an insulin spike, that's how your body responds to sugar or simple carbs. Actually, any food. But depending on how high that insulin spikes, insulin goes into the cell to protect it from the spike. And when it goes into the cell, so take that right there. Now we're going to jump back. Remember when we talked about inflammatory oils and plastic oils? So those inflammatory oils, specifically the plastic ones, they wrap unhealthy fats, they wrap the cell because the cell needs fat to produce healthy cells. And so if you're eating inflammatory plastic oils, your cell wall becomes encased. So that's a problem. So you get insulin in the cell to protect it, and there's so much sugar that we've got a problem. And the cell says, hey, sends a signal, says, hey, wait a minute, this is too much. And so every time it sends that signal, you start getting less and less penetration of the insulin. But then that poor little cell, I want want you to be so good to yourselves. I want you to think of it like it's actually a human. You know, each little cell's this little person you're taking care of. You have a great responsibility. This little cell is hungry. It's like, I'm starving. I'm really, really hungry. Have you ever been really, really hungry? So your cell sends a signal to your pancreas, says, hey, produce more insulin. So the pancreas does, comes to the rescue, produces more insulin. More insulin is produced, can't get in the cell. So now you've got all this free floating insulin. So here are some signs if you are insulin resistant. You eat more than a teaspoon of sugar a day. You have high stress. You eat inflammatory oils. You don't exercise enough and move, because there is no better exercise than walking to help that cell become sensitive to the insulin in your body again. Now, obviously, we can't course correct a broken pattern in the body if we're not hitting as many avenues as we can. So not only do we need to get that walking up and that movement, we need to look at the type of carbs that we're eating, and we need to look at our sugar intake. And between those things, and guess what? You might have heard me talk about this one. Magnesium. You got to get soaking in magnesium. And right now, it's on sale. The best price you're going to see all year, because shipping went up on this next load coming in. Our 64-ounce jugs were phasing out. So our magnesium lotion, magnesium cream, magnesium spray, magnesium soap are all on sale right now at livingthegoodlifenaturally.com. Because if you don't have intracellular magnesium, it cannot signal the insulin. It would be like never getting the word, never getting the communication of what you need. Now, once you start getting those things in place, less sugar, less simple carbs, less and more movement, walking, that's when you reverse insulin resistance. It doesn't happen overnight. You didn't get here overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. It comes with imperfect consistency. That's how you experience that, imperfect consistency. So that's why the month of July, you and I are being more consistent, and we're doing our Walk With Me series. Now, we don't hang out the whole hour, my arm, we get tired, but we do hang out for a little bit, and I hope you keep walking, or maybe you've been walking before, because I've had a lot of people ask me, can I break the walk up? Is it as effective? Any movement is better than no movement. Nothing beats an hour of walking, nothing. So how do you know if you're insulin resistant? So these next words could really trigger you. And I don't mean to trigger you, I'm just stating some facts. And I want you to be good to yourself. I want you to treat yourself how you would treat me. You'd be really kind. If your arms are rounder than what they need to be, and you've got excess fat there, that's a sign of insulin resistance. If you are holding on to belly weight, that's a sign of insulin resistance. If your energy is low, that's a sign of insulin resistance. If you have high blood pressure, insulin resistance. If Oh, if you have high cholesterol, that can be a sign of insulin resistance. And our healthy switch is not on. Like, we can do all these things to create health. We can be doing, but we're not going to be healthy unless we course correct the insulin resistance. Because being in fat burning mode turns the switch on for optimal health. I am going into this fall with optimal health. Last fall was rough, and I'm not doing that again. And so I've upped my game. You need to evaluate if you need to up your game. I don't know. You might be going strong. Yay for you. I'm upping my game because nothing tastes as good as optimal health feels. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So one way we get sugars in our body is hidden sugars. So sometimes we can just think of sugar as a candy bar or a donut or a piece of cake. But I want you to look at the hidden sugars. The hidden sugars, because in that 1.5 gallons of blood, your body only needs a teaspoon of sugar to maintain what it needs to do. And most people get 32. And here's the other thing. I know I geek out on stuff like this. The other thing is that half a teaspoon of too much sugar, or foods that your body converts to sugar, like simple carbs, white flour, those types of things, are boom, converted to sugar. If only half a teaspoon too much causes inflammation. Now let's think about it. Any disease, anything that's going on in our body is driven by higher inflammation numbers. Kathy, I'm so glad. I'm upping my game too. Oh, Kathy, so maybe is what you want to do is up your walking. Maybe add 10 minutes. And then the next week add another 10. And boom, you're almost there. So even half a teaspoon of more sugar or foods that your body turns into sugar causes inflammation. And remember, we talked about glycation. It hardens all of the things that we want to be flexible in the body. It's hard on your optic nerve. It's hard on your liver. And so we can say, oh yeah, I'm doing all these things. But if you're in that group of eating too much sugar, then you're making it really tough. It's like you're setting yourself up in a no-win situation. And I want you to feel successful. I want you to be like, yes, I nailed it. I just nailed it today. Now, we're not going for perfection. No. And remember, all of us have that thread of perfectionism. It is part of the human experience. Signs that you're a perfectionist is you're all or nothing. You try everything and then you give up. You use the word perfect a lot. You use the word absolutely a lot. And you're really hard on yourself internally. Those are all signs of perfectionism, that you're running those programs actively. All of us have it. All of us have run it at one point or another. It's part of our human experience. It's overcoming that and making better choices, conscious choices that make the difference. So let's talk a little bit. I think this would be helpful. I know maybe I'm totally off base. Let's talk a little bit about the sugar craving. It hits. Remember, wait 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Drink some water. And usually that craving is gone in 7 minutes. Can you wait it out 7 minutes? Drink a big glass of water. Another thing you can do is upping your healthy fat. When you up your healthy fat, your body, your cells become saturated with good nutrients. And when that happens, your cravings go down. Now, you have to balance that with how much bile production you have. So I can't say take this much because I don't know where your bile is, but you can figure that out. You can start adjusting that with how much you can handle. One fat in particular that I really like to turn off sugar cravings is MCT oil. I only like the bulletproof one though. I've tested a couple others. They're just not as clean as bulletproof. He's got a great MCT oil. I use the brain octane oil. The cool thing is you can put that in liquid and just drink it. Super easy. It's tasteless, but it needs a lot of bile. It's a short chain fatty acid. Needs loads and loads of bile. If you take too much of that stuff, you will be so nauseous, and you might be like Kristen. So the other thing, excuse me, the other thing that I like to do for sugar cravings is glutamine. L-glutamine to be specific, in powder form. Mix it in water and it can really help. And L-glutamine is one of those things that it is like huge for some people and nothing for some people. So buy it in powder form, not pill form. I don't see it working in pill form. Buy it in powder form, look at the additives, make sure you're getting the least amount of junk added in, and try that L-glutamine. And just go with the dosage on the back, but you can do that preventatively 3 times a day, or you can do it when your cravings hit. Now, last tool. Oh, and I want to know where you're coming in from. I want to know where are you coming in from and what's your weather like this morning. We are cooler today. So let me know where you're coming in from. I love to think of us walking all at the same time, like, boom, we've got this together. We are not alone. So the other thing I like to do when it comes to sugar is I like to make sure that I know why. Why am I craving sugar? Sometimes it's an emotional craving. We need a softer place to land in our life. Oh, Erin, good morning. Oh, it's warm in Utah. Shelly, Minnesota, welcome, welcome. So, oh, Shelly just finished her walk. Shelly Hansen, that's awesome. So, for example, when I was raising my kids, all my kids are launched. When I was raising my kids, the end of the day after they were in bed, I would become a sugar fiend, sugar addict. I did really well during the day. At nighttime is when it really kicked in. Oh, Erin says, too warm, darn it. Central Utah, warming up as the sun comes up. I love it. So I would become a sugar addict at night. It started because of an emotional reason. And that emotional reason was I was beating myself up. Oh, I didn't do this right as a mom. I didn't meet this need. I maybe lost my cool at this point during the day. So I would beat myself up and I needed something soft, something comforting. And so that's where my sugar addiction started. So sometimes you need to understand the why. And sometimes it's purely bad bacteria in your gut craving more food. It's actually not you. It's the bacteria that you've set up in your gut. So understanding where your sugar craving comes from is really important. Oh, yeah, too warm. Oh, Lake Havasu. We used to visit Lake Havasu when we lived in Mesa. Such a beautiful place. So knowing where it comes from, having tools, understanding what was the most beneficial for you today on our Walk With Me series. What really is what connected for you? Oh, Washington, Utah. Love it. Welcome. Oh, have cravings and comfort eating. Yeah, I would comfort myself. And is what I used to do before I knew better, is I would eat popcorn, thinking, oh, it's not sugar. Popcorn turns to sugar. And I had a popcorn addiction like you cannot believe. And that goes into a whole parasite issue, different topic for a different day, but it might not be sugar that you're eating. It might be sushi that you crave. It might be popcorn, like me. Those are turning into sugar and feeding that sugar addiction. So what was the most helpful for you? We're at the end of our Walk With Me. Nicole, let's see. Nicole's Saratoga Springs, Utah. You moved. Love your L-glutamine. Love it. Oh, Kathy says, I love the science of how the cell works. It helps me to know too. Ooh, Erin, let's talk that one. Okay, Erin just opened up a whole nother topic. She says, my cravings are for chocolate and peanut butter. So if you're craving 80% chocolate, that's a chocolate craving. If you're craving anything below 80%, that's a sugar craving. And a lot of times, because we hear chocolate's healthy, and it does have antioxidant when you're eating it at 80% or above. So evaluate that one. And then peanut butter. Let's talk about peanut butter. And, oh, the sand is really hard to walk in today. It's getting my heart rate up. So peanut butter usually has rancid fat, lots of sugar, and the peanut has been shipped all over the country, so it has a very specific bacteria formed on it to protect itself that causes havoc. I beg of you, if you love peanut butter, drop it. It's not doing anything good for your gut. Switch over to, my favorite is Barney butter, and there's one that they don't add sugar to, and it has healthy fats and almonds, but most importantly, it has a smooth, creamy spread. Because the almond butters that are oily and dry, I don't like those. But peanut butter, that's how, after somebody's like working on parasites or doing something like that, I'll say, and really focused on nourishing their body, I'll say take a spoonful of peanut butter, and invariably their gut will expand really quickly. They'll start burping, have gas, their face will go red, they'll get dizzy, because it's such a quick food for the bad bacteria to feed on. Yes, Barney butter. So I'll get team to go in and link to Barney butter, the one that I like, because there's a couple different kinds, and there's one specifically that's the best. Yeah, Barney butter. It was actually two moms that started it, and they're actually here in California. I believe their husbands owned the almond orchard, and they had a child with peanut allergies who wanted a creamy substitute, and so they started Barney butter, and I love it. And yes, it is more expensive. You don't need a lot of it though, and super flavorful, and we know almonds are loaded with magnesium. Oh, peanut butter feeds rosacea. Peanut butter feeds it. Okay, ready to walk. Oh, that's great, Lorene. Oh, I'm so glad the live helps you on your walk. That was my goal. That was my goal. So yay. So excited for that. My name's Kristen Bowen. I'm the founder of Living the Good Life Naturally. And I am upping my healthy game. I want my healthy, optimal healing switch turned on to go into fall. I am focused, I am determined, and I love hanging out with you in the morning. Have a great day. Bye.